Today we're going to be learning the basics of how to use Molecular Flipbook. When you open Molecular Flipbook, this is going to be what you see. We are going to need to import a protein to get started. We're going to navigate over to the Protein Data Bank website. It'll look like this. Over in the search bar, you can search for any protein that you want. The one that I'm going to be using is going to be this one right here, 2C36. What you're going to need from this website is going to be this 4-digit code here. So once you get that, we're going to go back over to Flipbook and we're going to go to Import PDB. And then you can come up here and then type in what you looked up. And then after that, it'll load everything that, if it has some chains on it that are named, it'll come up here, matches up with the one that you want. And we're going to load PDB. And then it's going to give you your structure. To start off, to zoom in on the structure, you can, if you're using a mouse, you can use the wheel and you'll zoom in. And with your left click is how you rotate around your protein. And then if you want just to move, not rotate around it, but move it somewhere different on your screen, you can right click. You can drag it to, say, the center. If you don't have a mouse, you can always use this cube over here where you can rotate it by, by moving these different arrows. And then also zooming, minus for out, plus for in. There's a couple different things for the display of your protein. You just select it by doing the left click, and then you'll see this. For different representations, we can look at it. There's invisible, which I don't know why you'd want to do. Surface, which is more of a downgraded version of what it was loaded in. Fine surface, which is what's default when you load it. And then the ribbon, which gives you more of an in-depth look of what's going on underneath the surface. So we're going to leave it at fine surface here. If you want to change the color of it, you come over to shading, and this is where you can go to different colors so that you can easily distinguish between your proteins. And you can also change the different surface representation. So default is what it's loaded with, and then this one gives more of shading, and then this one gives an even more shaded look so you can see the different curves of your protein. And then there's just a bunch of different surfaces that you can pick from. This is kind of a transparent look, and then this just turns it white. We'll use this one. If you go over to display over here, we can change the background color. So default it's white. You can go to a nice black background, or if you just keep clicking random, it'll just do a bunch of different colors. I'll stick with white. We're going to zoom out here. As you can see, there's a grid below here. If you want that to go away, you can just get rid of it by getting rid of show grid. There's a couple different ways that you can move this protein. So this blue up arrow allows you to move it in a vertical way. And then you can rotate it with this red circle here, or you can move it in a horizontal way with this green one, or if you can get it right in the right spot on this black dot, you can actually just drag it wherever you want. Sometimes it's hard to select these proteins by clicking on them if you get enough in the screen. So over here in this outliner, you can easily just click on it, and then you don't have to maneuver anything on the screen. You can just click and highlight whichever one you want to move. If you come over to editor, you can see some of the amino acids that comprise your protein. There's not too much else you can do in this editor since this is in development stages of the program itself. If you're trying to do a small molecule which doesn't have a PDB code, you can come over here and to this blobber tool. And with this blobber tool, if I can move this out of the way, it'll just make a little, well, it'll make a blob. And then you can name these, and these different names will show up in the outliner. So if we just do blob 1, you'll see that blob 1 shows up here, and it follows the same rules as the proteins do. You can change its representation, or you can change how it looks over in the shading, and then you can change its color as well. If you come over to, we'll get rid of that, come over to Blobber again, you can also change if you want it to be different sizes. You can change it with these diameter and height tools here. And also, if you want it to be bigger, you can come over to the molecular weight, and then if you know the molecular weight of your small molecule, you can input that here, or if you're just trying to make a good representation of it, you can just come over here and type in a different number. We'll do something like 700 just to show. And as you can see, it gets bigger. Once you have all the things that you need, you can start to make the movie. So to make this movie, we have our blob here and then our protein that we imported. If we wanted to show the blob that we made interacting with this protein, come down here, which is where your scenes are, and we'll do one more scene which duplicates what's on the screen, and then we'll come up here and we'll select our blob, and then we want to show it interacting over here, so we'll move it towards the protein. And then when you have it where you want, you'll click that plus again to duplicate what's on this screen. And then we want, for instance, this protein we want this to move over here. And after you move that again, you'll do the plus again, and that'll duplicate what's on the screen again. And then if you click play, you can kind of see everything that you just did. So the blob's moving over there, and then we move the protein away. And this can be done with as many slides as you want. Whenever you click the plus button, it'll just duplicate what's on the screen. And then if you mess up a slide, or if you just want to see, you can click on these to see what's on the screen at each slide. And if you mess up on one, you can click this minus to just delete it. And you can make a little molecular movie. And those are the basics of Molecular Flipbook.